Hey everybody, I wanted to do a video of how to cut vinyl. This will be kind of a beginner's guide of how to cut vinyl for the first time and how to apply it to something. It'll show you kind of how to get the settings right on your machine and what all the tools that you need to get this done. So let's go ahead and open something up to cut. I've got like a ton of stuff in here. So let's go ahead and just cut this one. It's got some smaller pieces, some bigger pieces. I'm going to move it over to a new thing. Control copy, Control N to open a new screen, and Control V. I want to make it, not huge, but not tiny. I'd like for it to be like the size of maybe a bumper sticker or something like that. People seem to have a lot of trouble with cutting small things, and so, I don't know, this one's got some little pieces like the I and the N. I think it'll be good for you guys to see how to get your cut settings right, and when they are right, how easily this should weed. Let's go ahead and move it up here in the corner. I buy rolls of vinyl like this. I think they're like 10-yard rolls because I use a lot because I have an Etsy store. I know most of you guys use like 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 sheets. That's what I started with as well, and it's a great size. So whatever you've got, the idea is the same. Let me go ahead and grab color over here. So this is, I don't know, I call it turquoise. It's really pretty, kind of like it. All right, let's go ahead and move this computer over here so you guys can see my machine and see how I load the vinyl in it. As you guys can see, I still have a Cameo 1. It still works awesome. I actually have 2 of them. I never upgraded. I think everything is basically the same except for I think like the auto blade and this part over here where you do the controls. So you guys will figure it out on your own machine. So one thing I want to show you guys, I moved this roller over from over here. This is where like the 12-inch mark is. This would be to load like a size, the letter size paper. I find that if I move that over, and even though I'm loading 12-inch wide vinyl, if I keep it under that roller, it's not as likely to slip out because it's almost in the middle. And then this roller over here, there's only maybe this much on the side of it that so that it doesn't slip out. Let's go ahead and over here we want to hit load media. I click this little bar over and kind of pull it so that I know it's nice and flat. Okay. This is an Alex cart from IKEA. For people that have rolls, it's really handy because it will hold the roll for you, which is really nice. I've never used one of those roll feeders. I've cut stuff that's really long, and this works just fine for me. So, all right, let's come back over here. And we're going to cut this. So we want to go up here to the cut window. I am going to choose vinyl. Oh, it's up here in commonly used. Vinyl. And it says my ratchet blade should be at 1. I put it at 2. I find that it cuts much better at 2 than it does at 1. And then down here, I like to keep my speed between 5 and like 7. If you're cutting something super duper intricate, you can slow it down, but people who cut like everything on 2 or 3, no, it takes way too much time. I like my thickness at 11. There's a sweet spot for machines. My second Cameo one that I have, so it's the exact same thing, the blade is on 1 and the thickness is at like 6 or 7. You'll get to know your machine. And I'm going to go ahead and do a test cut just so people can see what that looks like. I was scared of the test cut in the beginning because I'm like, so it's going to cut the whole thing and waste all my vinyl? No, it's not. So let me go ahead and hit test cut. My machine will move. And you guys can see what happens. So let me go ahead and pull this out. It cuts it up here in the very top corner. I use an X-Acto knife to weed. I find it's the easiest. So you just pull this, and you can see that that was a perfect cut. So it cuts it so high up in the corner that there's not usually an issue with stuff getting in the way. But here, I'm going to load this back in my machine. I'm going to show you guys what I do just to be absolutely certain. So if you guys want to take this and just move it down or move it over just a tiny smidge so that you know it won't be an issue, then that's totally fine. All right, let me go ahead and send this to my machine. And it'll only take not even that long to cut. The Cameo one is kind of loud, I'd say. I think that they got quieter as they go along. I'm not sure. So you guys can decide. I use one of these guys to cut the vinyl after off the roll, or for you guys that are using sheets off the sheet. I don't really see the point of just cutting that little square out where this was cut. I cut across the whole thing. You guys will see in a second. And then I have a scrap bin where I keep, oh, it's getting really heavy, where I keep all my scraps so that when I'm making something small, I don't have to use a whole sheet. I will say that I don't use scraps as often as I should. Obviously, you can tell by this huge bucket that I have. All right, unload. So you can see in the vinyl where it's been cut, so you know where to cut the piece off from. All right. Cut it straight across, and then cut it across again. So I'm left with this little guy. It's still got my test cut up in the corner, but that's okay. Alright, I'm going to go down here so you guys can see how it should weed. I think an X-Acto knife is easiest. People use those dental picks, whatever. Alright. And when you pull it off, it should just come off, just like this. It gets stuck in some of the letters, like in the S, you know, because it has to come up right there. But it should not be having to push each individual piece down. Take off the test cut piece. To weed, I like to do this where I just stick it right on my finger. It's really quick and easy. That's done. This is, let me see how big it is. I think it's like 3 by 3. So it's not super big. 3 by 2.6. So it's pretty small. Now, to get this onto something, I have a bunch of different sizes of transfer tape. All the way up to like 14 tall so that I can lay it across an entire 12 by 12 sheet of vinyl without having to be too accurate. It's all AT65 medium tack. That's what it says on the inside of it. I get it from HH Sign Supply, but there's like a ton of places that sell it, including eBay. I'm going to use a little bit bigger one right here. Slice off a piece. And then what we want to do is we want to lay it over top. Get a real burnishing tool. You will thank yourself in the long run for using real transfer tape and a real burnisher. Burnisher? Is that what you say? I I got a pack of like 30 of these off of eBay for like $34 shipped because I like to send them when I sell a wall decal for the people to use. Burnish it pretty good. Like, rub it on there. You can see that I've got the edge and I'm down here at like, I don't know, was that like a 30-degree angle? Rub it across. I have no idea what I planned to stick this to. Let's go ahead and just stick it to this guy over here. Here we go. This is like a metal, one of those magnetic board things. So you've got your decal. It's got the transfer tape on it. Awesome. Let's go ahead and when you peel it off, it should all come off in one piece. This is the beauty of real transfer tape. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to get some alcohol and clean this guy. Of course, I'm out of little cotton pads that I use. Okay, we're just gonna hit this, pretend like we cleaned it. It will stick longer if you clean it. I use one of these Norwex cloths after the alcohol to really wipe it down and make sure that there's no lint on there. This isn't like cotton, so, well, I don't know what it's made of. It's polyester, so it doesn't have little pieces that flake off of it. Take your decal, put it on there. I just eyeball stuff straight. After a while, you get better at it. Don't get me wrong, I do have to tear stuff off of things every once in a while and replace. So one of the biggest things I want to say for putting stuff on things is when I started, I would put it down and then I'd rub it with my hand to make sure that it was stuck. Don't do that. Barely set it on there, and even if it's on a cup, if you just barely touch it to it, it'll stick if you let go. Then use your tool to really push it so that the air bubbles come out. They say to just push it in one direction. If you want to be super crazy about stuff, you can just push it in one direction. I just go all over it. If it was like a big circle or something where I was really afraid of air bubbles, I would do the one direction. That would be a really good idea. Okay. Then when we peel off our tape, it should peel off slow and easy. And it's on there, it's stuck, it's good to go. So as I'm recording this, everything is backwards. I'm really hoping that once I upload this, it won't be backwards. So when you're doing regular vinyl that you're just going to put on something like a car or a cup, you do not cut in reverse. Do not cut it mirrored. You only cut stuff mirrored for HTV. Or if I wanted to do, like, if this was clear and I didn't want to have this be shown, be raised on the front, I would cut it mirrored so that I could put it behind it and have it show through the glass. All right, that's it. I hope that explains things and helps you beginners out a little bit. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.